Oh, hello, hello, hello. What a beautiful rainy day here in Nashville. We're going to go live here in just a few minutes. We're going to let people have a few minutes to get on. What we've noticed is if we go right away, it takes people a few minutes to get here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And so we're going to play a little something while we wait. Here we go. All right. So here is going to be a fun time because we have this bet with our office. How many people are actually going to show up for the budget talk? So we're going to see how many people actually show up and talk about budgets. And Derek, you are here, man. You win the prize.
Third person for budgets. Wow.
Yes, fantastic. We're so glad you're here. And everybody else that's here, thank you so much. Again, we're going to ask you to like us. A lot of it is when you like us, I know who's here. On vacation last week. Hey, man, I love budgets. I know I'm one of those freak people. I love talking about budgets and money. Because I know if I have a budget and I watch it, I make money. That's just kind of the way it works. But let me just tell you a little story. I'm gonna start this off a little bit because one of the very first questions that I get a lot of time is, why do I need a budget? Well, when you start a business, we all kind of budget our household. Most of us do it through our checking account. I mean, that's the honest truth. We don't sit down and actually create a full family budget. Well, some of us don't. I actually have done that. My wife's not really into it, but it's okay. We have a pretty good plan here. So, but the point is, when I was teaching my sons, I have two grown sons now. They're going to be, I think 42 and 40 this year. The one that was going to be 40, well, he struggled with math. And it's not that he really struggled with math, that he just didn't see the point. He's very creative and artistic, and he's a chef, and he's very good at what he does. And in fact, now he is a district manager, and he deals with budgets all the time. And we've had lots of laughter and conversation around this about the very first time that I taught him to reconcile his checkbook. So he's got a budget. You're going to spend this much on, this much on this, this much on this. And every single week that we did this, he was over budget. And he just could not figure it out until one day I said, I don't understand why you're spending so much money. And he goes, well, every time I go to the bank and I get some money out, it tells me what I have in the bank. And I said, so you're looking at that? And he said, yeah. And I said, yeah, but that's not what you have in the bank. You've got checks that you've written against that money. That's why you keep overspending. And he said, well, don't they know I've written the checks? I'm like, not until it clears. So it was this whole deal. So sometimes, even though you have a budget and you're trying to stay in it, if you're not looking at the right thing, doesn't do you much good. So
well, that's what your 20s are for, right?
Absolutely. So the reason I tell that is a budget is just a guidepost. That's all it is. It's guidelines. There are people that adhere to it so much that they're almost, I don't know what's the word, dictators about money. You cannot spend more than this. If you spend more than this, you will die. And, all those kind of things. I don't look at a budget like that. I look at a budget as you're bowling and you're really bad at it. And you need the bumpers. Yeah. So that the ball kind of guides you down. So at least you can hit something. That's kind of what I look at a budget with. So if you can start out and just understand that this is just a guide for you. You know, if something comes up, it's not something that you have to just live by. But man, I mean, oh, Derek blew his budget on a 3-pound puppy because she wasn't cheap. I think you did that too, just recently, didn't you?
Right there with you, Derek. Ours was 3 pounds when we got her. She's about twice that now, but she's a little dog. She'll always be little, but oh my gosh, this dog is costing me money.
Oh, it's hysterical. Hey, Linda, how are you? So glad to see you here today, too. I know the Roydhouses know something about buying those dogs as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
they know something about budgeting, too.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about budgeting. We're talking about, just in general in life and your business, but let's bring it down into marketing. Let's talk specifically about what a reasonable budget for marketing is really based on in your business.
So there's a couple of things, and Carter, take any of this that you want.
Okay, I'm going to be kind of quiet today, I think, because this really is your bailiwick, and I know some stuff, but a lot of what I know because you've been, the person who makes sure that these things work in our business, and so I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to listen a lot, but I'll jump in when I need to.
Okay, all right. So some of the things that happen when you're trying to decide, especially, and I'm talking about a marketing budget, okay? Your overall budget needs to be comprised of the revenue that you believe you're going to bring in. A lot of people base it on the past year. If you're a new business, you kind of have to make some judgments there and kind of do some guesstimates, is what I say. So, that's just kind of the way that works. But, one of the other things that I'm going to give you guys some percentage ranges here for a minute, but I want you to understand these things actually move and breathe. Normally, the companies that get more revenue, the percentages go down. And by that, if you're making $100,000 a year, $1 million a year. Let's take $1 million because 100,000 is just not enough in this industry. So you're making $1 million a year and you're going to take 10% of that. Well, that's a lot of money. That's $100,000. But if you're making 10 million, 10% of that's $1 million. Is it really going to cost $1 million to compete in a market with somebody making, spend it? You see what I'm going? It's just all relative to where you are. So, when I give you these percentages, I don't want you to say these are in stone. They're really not. They're just based on averages of what we see that people tell us and what we've seen people spend. So the other caveat with this is every business is different. I mean, you got different employees, you got different trucks. You're in a different market. Some of you guys are in unbelievably competitive markets. Others aren't not so much in competitive markets. They can do kind of the minimal and get away with it.
But at the same time, if you're not in a very competitive market, but you're spread out over 3 states and rural, counties, then you're going to have to spend a lot more to reach all of the people that you need to reach in order for you to get the business you want. So, I mean, there's so many factors involved. You're absolutely right. It's very difficult to draw a target and say, this is the target everybody needs to hit. But these are some good starting guidelines for sure.
Yeah. And it really is what it is. And the other thing is you have to decide, where are you in your business? I mean, we have people that are very aggressive in their growth. I mean, year over year, they want to grow. Then we have people that do the sprints. They will be very, very aggressive for short periods of time and then kind of back off and breathe, and then aggressive and back off and breathe, and aggressive and back off and breathe. Then we have people that's like, look, I love my business. I love where it is. I have time with my family. It gives me a really nice vacation, and I'm putting money away for retirement. That's really all I want. I just want enough business to keep me right here. And that's fine too. And we've had a few that's like, I'm too busy. It's between either losing some business and getting back to where I feel comfortable, or I'm going to have to hire people and I really don't want to hire anybody else. So we've had all these people in between. And so this is really the percentages based on those things. So if you really want to grow and be really aggressive, you're looking at spending 12 to 15% of your gross revenue. So, that's the other thing. So I'm going to stop here a minute, and because there's one more caveat that I didn't write down, but it really is true. What do you consider marketing? So by that, some people say uniforms are marketing. Other people say uniforms are operations. So what bucket are you putting things into? That's the other thing. So some of these percentages are going to move based on how you actually categorize everything that you do in your business. I look at a lot of things through marketing, but we've got clients that, HR, to them, hiring is HR, and that's part of their HR budget. I've got other people that they feel like hiring is marketing, and they have it in their marketing budget. So that's what I mean by this. You kind of have to figure out where you are in your business. So if you just want to maintain, grow a little bit, make sure you're not falling behind, just kind of stay up on things, you're looking at about 8 to 12. And then if you are ready to slow down a little, don't want to hire anybody else, just want to make sure that you have a decent business over the course of time, then you're looking at 4 to 8%. So that's kind of the breakdown on what I look at is what's reasonable to actually spend your marketing dollars on, and the percentage. And again, this is percentage. If you do not believe me, start asking people that are about the size of your business what they spend on their marketing and see where it comes out at. Which is another good way if you're just starting out, it's another great way to kind of figure out where you need to be. You just ask people, in your area, same size, those kind of things. So I think Jerry just did something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to read the comments, but I think you're doing that.
No, go ahead.
Jerry was talking about making sure that we guide, or the business should be guided by the owner's vision, what they want out of the business and what they think their growth should be. I totally agree with that. That's one of the exciting things as a marketing partner working with our clients is, we get to ask them, what are you looking to do? And then let's apply all this marketing muscle in this engine that we've built and put it to work, specifically to help you get that. And we've got clients that they're like, yeah, I've got tons of business. I'd love to get rid of the ankle biters, the tire kickers and the ones that waste my time and they're never happy. So how do we use marketing to craft our business in a way that appeals to the kinds of customers that we really want, so that we can fill our schedule with that, keep our 1 to 2 trucks busy year round, and really grow this incredible lifestyle business. And that's fun, and then we've got guys that are like, I want to be king of the world, master of the universe. I want to own every single, market in my area, and expand out into other states. And we're like, okay, well, let's talk about how to make that happen. Here's what our marketing engine can do. So absolutely, the owner sets the pace and decides what they want to do. And marketing really should be in service of that. And if you're with a marketing company that's trying to shoehorn you into a set of services and products and tools that help you become a business you don't want to be, then you're probably not with the right marketing company, or you need to have a serious conversation with your marketing company about what you're really trying to do, because they may not know. They may just figure everybody wants the same thing. So that's a challenge. Jillian was saying everything branding comes out of marketing rather, in her budget. A couple of years ago, they created a separate recruitment budget for hiring, and that is separate now. They pulled it out of their marketing so that they can adjust those numbers a little bit without changing the marketing picture. And just from a management standpoint and understanding what your ROI is, that might be a good strategy for you, depending on the size of your business and where you are.
No, I think that's good. So now we're going to talk about what is a legitimate marketing spend. And by that, I'm talking about your rate of growth. I mean, this is another thing that, when somebody hires us and they start out saying, this is what I want, and then you deliver that, and then they call one day and say, turn it off. And it's like, what? It's like, just turn it off. And we've had that happen several times. And I'm like, well, I can turn some of the stuff off, but I can't turn everything off. What's going on? So, the marketing basically overwhelmed them a little bit. And so they were hoping to back off. Well, online, it's really hard to turn things like SEO off. You can turn your ads off. You can turn, you can, I guess, stop posting on Facebook, some of those kind of things. But you can't turn your online presence off. It just doesn't work that way.
Not like a light switch anyway.
Yeah. You can devalue it, which I would not tell anybody to do ever. So there needs to be a mix. If you're in one of those areas where you're really not sure and you think, well, I need X amount, but I don't want to overmarket, then you may want to look at a mix that has some things you can turn on and off, along with those things that just are very constant. So that's what I'm talking about, is spend your money on the things, on the tactics and strategies that fit what you want in your business. Hopefully that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up or something if that makes sense. If you could just write it down and say, yeah, I get it, I understand. Because sometimes I talk about this stuff and people come back to me later and go, well, I really wasn't following you very well. So, if you're not following, please let me know. Want to make sure that I am making sense, which is not always there. And I get it. Talk in circles at times. So what should you pay for? This is going to dovetail a little bit into what we talked about last week. And so, Carter, I'm going to let you start this, because the first thing we talk about is really something that you're way more skilled at than me.
So last week we talked a little bit about, some of those effective tactics that, help you get what you pay for, and places where you should be spending. So continuing that conversation a little bit here, this is kind of in order of importance. The things, at least the way that we think about the way businesses should approach using their marketing budget when they're limited on what they can spend, then what we would start with would absolutely be their website, for a lot of reasons. And we've talked about these on other Spark Lives, but the website is the center of your universe. It's where all roads lead. And in all of the other marketing that you're doing, your website is going to feature as part of that. It's one of the destinations where people will come in order to initiate communication with you. And so we want that website to convert. And so absolutely putting your money into building a well-crafted, well-designed, thought out, presents good information clearly to your customers, to the types of customers that you want, making sure that they can find what they're looking for in your website. And one of the most important things for them to find on your website is how to connect with you, or how to contact you to start an appointment. Or, do you want them to call the office? Do you want them to fill out a form? Do you want them to use the chat on your website? Do you want them to text you? All of these are things that need to be clear. In order for that website to convert well, those presentational items, we kind of divide up the website and web presence into 4 main areas. And you probably heard us talk about this when we talk about our Spark Marketer Playbook, digital marketing playbook. The 4 areas are the technical stuff, the things that you never think about because they're under the hood and you wouldn't even know to look for them unless you built websites for a living and did SEO for a living. The second is the presentation, right? That's all the pretty stuff, the stuff you do see, the things that are very easy to judge a website on. Does it look good? Is it understandable? Is it written well? Can I find what I need? Is it easy to navigate around on? And then there's the experience side, like from a customer's perspective. Are they having a good experience with your website? Are they able to find those things that they want? And the final thing is the performance. And that's kind of the wrap up or the roll up category of all of the other categories. Is it performing well? Does it load fast? Does it convert well? Is it bringing you the leads that you need, the kind of quality customers that you're looking for, as well as the number of customers that you need in order to hit your growth targets. So that's what we mean when we talk about a website that converts, and it's absolutely hands down always the first place that we want to address with new clients, to make sure that they understand how important that is, and to put our muscle and their money into that effort and get that shored up, because everything else that's about to come in this list is going to depend on having that piece right, or at least prepped in order to support the growth that we're going to be going after.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a minute. The website is great. You've got to have it. But one of the things that we highly encourage is for people to do original videos and photographs. Let me tell you the way that we used to do it is just go out and find a bunch of stock photos that would, like, quote unquote work. All right. And they worked okay. What was happening, though, is Google was seeing the same stock photos out there on all the websites. And so they started actually giving credence to people who were doing original photographs, putting team pictures. And what they realized, just the test and the people doing search engine optimization realized that if you have a local business and you're able to put those friendly photos on there and the smiling faces of your team and your trucks, and they're recognizing, all this stuff plays hand in hand. So it really is a valuable tool to make sure that you've got great photographs, great videos, and it's not just for your website, it's for all your collateral. When you do that, you've got it for brochures. You've got everything for all your social networks, whatever you choose to. We have people that have galleries of before and afters that they show, and different things they show people. Especially with COVID, it's worked out really well. They have a lot of pictures online, and they're able to go and show this is what it was before with the unit we're talking about. This is what it looked after. It's probably going to be different in yours because you have different living room, blah, blah, blah. But it pre-sells a lot of things. And so, having those things just makes you relatable. It makes you likable. And people love doing business with people they like. And it doesn't have to be a television production, which is the other thing. Most of us have phones that have better cameras on them than we ever had growing up. I'm hoping that everybody here is over the age of 20. I can't say that to my grandkids. They've always had them. But the honest truth is the picture that I take on my iPhone is so much better than, I was in the photography class in college, and the phone I'm using now is better than that camera was that I had to use back then. So I'm just saying, don't be afraid to experiment, try. There's a lot of free courses. Go on YouTube. There's so much information online that can help you on how to take really good pictures. And if all else fails, call Jillian, because Jillian is the person that she wasn't here last week, but I bragged on you, Jillian, because I think you are a fantastic photographer. And so, that's one of the things. I know you got a lot to do, and I probably shouldn't say that, but man, find somebody like Jillian who can come out in your area and take those great photos. It's well worth the time, effort, and the money. Well worth it. Well worth it.
It really is. And all of that feeds into the next thing, because when you've got good content, visual content, that goes a long way toward optimizing your website to give Google all the things that Google wants to see, and makes the wheels turn for you in your favor. So that the next part that we would really encourage you to do is to start looking at a good SEO strategy, search engine optimization strategy, making your site perform well for people who are searching for services like yours in your area. Taylor, you can probably talk a little bit more about what all's involved in that. I don't know how in the weeds we want to get in terms of that conversation, but think of search engine optimization as like a dating service for, that all the work that goes into matching you up with the right kind of customer, and helping your customer find the right kind of service for their needs. That's probably the best definition of SEO that I know of, that stays away from the weeds. But it's all of the systems and all of the techniques and tools and technology and platforms and just the mumbo jumbo stuff that makes it work, so that you have happy customers that can fall in love with you.
Yeah, and I actually sent an article over to the team that plans these lives, and it's all about the myths of SEO. I think that's something that we can cover and kind of get more in depth with it. But that's, watch for that. That's probably going to be coming up the next couple of months. So we'll get into that. The only thing that I would really say is this. Search engine optimization is an art form. It's not pretty pictures. It's not all technology. It's not all writing, but it involves all of it. I mean, that's the thing about SEO. It touches on a lot of different things around what goes on with your marketing online. And I remember when you and I first got into business together, we would have this argument, because at the time Carter was building all the sites and I was doing all the SEO. And I would tell him that SEO is way more important than how the site looked. And he would tell me that how the site
branding, it's
way
gotta
more
look pretty
important than how the SEO was. Well, I won't tell you the whole story because it takes too long, but I won. So I'll just tell you, you can have a really crappy website and have the search engine optimization when I say crappy, I'm talking about looking. And I don't like doing those, by the way. I'm not advocating doing that, because I think having both is really the better thing. But I've seen some websites that I have looked at and went, oh my gosh, and they rank like nobody's business. And I bet you that you've seen them in your area locally, that you go, how in the world is this site ranking? And it's all about what they're doing underneath on the search engine optimization piece. So it's a big piece. So the other thing that is out there that you should pay for, I think everybody needs to get into some paid leads at some point. They may not do it right from the get-go, but I think eventually they need to experiment, whether it's Google, Facebook, YouTube ads, whatever they are. You can be on Yelp. I've known people that have had success on pretty much every platform, but you need to experiment with that. And so you need to have a budget set aside that you can do these things, usually about 6 to 8 months, just to be able to get enough data to see if they're working or not, and how they work, and what kind of customer they bring in. Because here's to me the brux of marketing. All right. It's not about bringing 1,000 people to your website. Now, if I do your website and that's the only thing I can do is bring traffic to your website, then I'm going to tell you that's what it's about. All right. I don't personally believe that's what it's about, because if I can bring 100 people consistently that's going to buy from you, or 1,000 people consistently that aren't going to buy from you, that's a no-brainer. I want to bring the people that buy from you, but it's not just everybody that buys from you. I don't want the tire kickers. I don't want the people that are not going to pay their bills. I want people that are going to be the types of people that want the service, have the money for the service, appreciate the service, that want to come back to you, year in, year out. Those are the types of people that I think every service business wants. And so as a marketing company, those are the type of people we need to deliver. I mean, that is our goal. So it's just not anybody and everybody. It's very specific. So, when you do these ads, a lot of times you find those people on just these different type of platforms, and you can figure out which platform really delivers that type of customer to you. But if you don't ever do it, if you don't ever experiment with it, you will never know. But somebody in your industry, no matter what it is, is going to experiment with it, and they will win that platform.
I think that's the reason I like ads so much, is because of the way you can experiment with ads. That's very different than like organic SEO, right? I mean, you need a website that appeals to the most number of your customers. With ads, you can get very targeted, and you can run a set of ads that just targets one particular kind of customer that needs a very specific kind of service. And you can experiment with the words you use to attract them. You can experiment with what gets them to take action, and run an ad. You know, you're paying for it, but you're getting so much more data about the way that you can trigger the actions that you're looking for, and get people to respond in a way that equals money in the bank and a return on your investment. And I think that's why I like ads, you know, and recommend them. So you don't ever want to think that you're done, you know, when you just get SEO going. You really want to start thinking about search engine marketing, SEM, which is the ad side of things. And Taylor really explained it pretty well there.
So the other thing is social media content. And if you do a really good job with getting your brand collateral done with your videos and photos, your social media marketing becomes a lot easier. There's also, and I want, can you talk about Canva a little bit, about how easy it is to do that?
Sure.
Because I think that's a really good place to start with social media marketing.
It's a great platform, and you know, we're not funded by Canva. We don't have a kickback thing, or we don't advertise for them or anything else. It's a product that we've used and we like it. It's easy to use. It's a great online design platform. So they have templates and things for social media ads that are all the right sizes, you know, that fit the different platforms. Like Facebook has a certain size that looks good on certain phones. And knowing what that size is can be a little bit of a challenge if you've never designed before. So Canva, you just go in and you say, I want to design a Facebook ad and I want it to look good on mobile. And then boom, there's all sorts of different templates that you can choose from to get you started. You can add your own image as a background, but the fonts and the design is all laid out and everything the way that you want it. You just customize it and create your ads using a tool like that. I think they have a free level still, but it's worth paying a little bit extra for the Canva Pro. It's not an expensive tool, but it's just a really good solution for people who want to not spend their days designing stuff and just need to get quick and dirty to get the job done, but still want it to look good. So we're talking about DIY here. You know, obviously, if you're working with an agency, they handle things for you, so you don't even have to mess with tools like Canva. But if you're doing it for yourself, then check out Canva. It's canva.com, I believe, and check it out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, and Kathy Ray, thank you for putting that you understood me. Not everybody does, so I really appreciate that. That makes me feel like I explained something okay. And for all of you guys that have liked this, thank you again. Carmen, the fact that you fully understand SEO, I don't know if we had anything to do with it or not, but I'm just glad that you fully understand it, because sometimes I'm not sure I do, and I do it all the time because it just changes every once in a while. It gets a little crazy. So I really appreciate you guys' comments. Thank you very much for that. And, you know, the final thing that I think that people really miss, that is part of their marketing, and they look at it as maybe an add-on, or it's just, you know, that thing that you have to do, that communication thing. You got to like talk to people, you know, and that thing. And then you have to text them, and who wants to email? I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to that I'm like, how do you talk to your customers? Well, I don't talk to them unless they call me. That's it. Okay. I don't want to talk to them. They just text. So, okay. So what happens to the people that want to call you? I don't know. If they don't text me, I guess they go to somebody that wants them to call them. So communication is huge. And to have a system that you can actually take all types of communication, I think that is really, really important to do. And, you know, so there are certain things in communication that you can do by text, by email. You can get referrals, reminders, reviews. I mean, these are all things that a lot of automation is coming on board, that you're able to do a lot of these things. I know Carter's worked more in this than me, but it's just fascinating and cool. And what we found is when people really get into it, understand it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier than it used to be.
Yeah, communication doesn't have to be the pain point that it used to be. And because of automation, there's a whole lot that you can do. And customers expect that you're going to automate them a little bit, in the process. And they actually appreciate when it's done, because the only thing worse than the feeling of getting an automated text message from a system, or from a customer or from a company, is not hearing anything. Right? Crickets are so much worse than an automated message that reminds you about when your appointment is. I'd much rather design and help customers with systems that support world-class communication and automate that so that it doesn't take up 1 or 2 or 3 people's time in the office all the time to communicate well with customers. And so that's a large part of what I do in our agency, is help our customers think through the systems that they want to build that way and offer them things that are proven and work.
Yeah, Jerry just put this: talk to customers in the way they want to be spoken to. And that really is true. I mean, it's true about us. We have clients that I never talk to them on the phone. If we're not texting, I'll never get them. So, we've made our account owners, they text, they call, they email. I mean, however somebody wants, I told one client, I said, if you want us to do smoke signals, we'll figure it out. It really is about how the client wants to be communicated to. And we do have clients that are on the phone all day long, and the last thing they want to do is, after everything is said and done, have a phone call with their marketing company. They just want to dump it all in email and send it and do it all that way. And that is perfectly okay. So, as business owners, I think we have to be more in tune with our customers and ask the question, how do you want to be communicated with? I think it's really, really important. Thanks, Jerry, for that. I appreciate that. So that was it. You got anything else? I just kind of stopped, didn't I?
Well, that's the end of the list. And that's a really good prescription, I think, for like how to stage your marketing from early days when you're really starting to think about growing all the way through. I would say, though, that if you've been in business for a while and you're running, any more than 2 or 3 trucks, then you should pretty much already have everything on that list attended to, that you've put some effort and some budget into covering all of those bases. If you're not quite at that 2 to 3 truck level yet, then you're probably somewhere a little further up the list, but you should be thinking about, plans in your growth plans of setting aside budget to start covering all of those bases. And if you're, much bigger than that, then you should be spending money in all of these areas and covering these more than just like, thin ground cover. You should be going deep on all of these, because there's so much money to be made when all of these things are working together and integrated well and fit together to create revenue and return on your investment.
So with that, I am going to talk about 2 things real quick. And Carter, I'm going to let you tell everybody to like us and hit the bell and all that, because I keep doing that and they keep reminding me, but I'm going to make that your job today.
Okay.
So the Playbook, what we're doing is really helping companies who are struggling in their online marketing. It's over 200 points that I go through, and I'm spending anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours on pretty much every Playbook that I've been doing. And it's really helping a lot of people. So my ask is, I know you guys, most of y'all have gotten a Playbook. Because if you're our client, we've sent you out one, both electronically and by mail. If you haven't, let me know, because we'll make sure you get one. However, if you've got people in your area in a different industry, that's still home service, could be security, doors. I've done, gosh, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, a whole bunch of different things lately. But if it's a service business and you know they're struggling, please recommend that they do this. It's not a sales deal at all. We just reach out and see if we can help them, and just really enjoying having those conversation and getting a lot of good feedback and information from these guys. So it's sparkmarketer.com/playbook. Would really appreciate to do more of that. And then the other thing that I just added, I'm teasing next week. We're actually going to have a guest because Carter is moving his mom up to Nashville. And so he's going to be on that move. So I've got a secret guest coming out, and we're going to talk about, does marketing freak you out? And to really somebody that's got a lot of experience in marketing for a number of years. And I think you guys will really appreciate having her on. So that's a good thing. So those are the things coming up here.
All right. Well, like Taylor said, I do want to encourage you, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're tuning in there, then make sure you do like us. You can like this video as well, just thumbs up or heart this, and then make sure that you follow or like our page on Facebook too, the Spark Marketer business page, because that way you'll make sure that you see notices and things about the upcoming Facebook Lives and when they're scheduled. So do that. If you're watching us on YouTube, then you'll want to hit the subscribe button underneath the video. And once you've hit the subscribe button, that's where the little bell icon appears. You just click on the little bell, and that will make sure that you get notified every time that a new Facebook Live is about to come on. So do that just to stay tuned in. Make sure you don't miss any of these Facebook Lives that we're doing.
And the other thing, just real quick, if you guys would like to have us talk about something or explain something, or just a subject that is marketing related that you think would be interesting to everyone, we would love to have that feedback from you. So anytime you can email us, you can put it in Facebook. We've got people that are monitoring everything. So if you have a thought, let us know. We're here to help you guys, and want to make sure that we're giving you the information as best we can that you want and need. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Derek, thanks again for being here. Appreciate all of you. Y'all have a great week.